Within the borders of the Vatican City in Italy's capital, Rome, are architectural marvels that echo the deep, long history of a formidable spiritual capital. This is the seat of leadership of about 1.4 billion Catholics around the world, which is indicative of the global scale of influence that the leader of one of the smallest sovereign states has. And it is during a sacred transition of power, the death of one pope, and the election by the cardinals of another, that Soshanguve-born Peto Matala, who initially had dreams of becoming a civil engineer, found himself in Rome studying liturgy.
As a teenager, the whole question comes, so what are you going to become after matric, Initially, I had desired to want to become a civil engineer because I attended a technical school, so that's how I somehow thought, and that's what attracted me. Until while I was still in church, I met a very young and vibrant priest, and for me it was a shock because in my upbringing, the only priests that I had met were only elderly. So I never thought that young people can become priests. And even in a township, thinking of myself, it was not even growing from high school. So eventually I engaged this particular priest about my interest to be like him. Now the challenge was the misconception which was there, that priests are only people who study the Bible, or rather only do Bible studies. And that's what I also had. But he made me aware that no, you don't only do the Bible or study the Bible, you also study philosophy and theology. And so when I told my parents about my desire, my parents were like, all we want is a degree. And I had to invite the priest to assure them that there will be a degree. So basically, and then I did my first degree in philosophy, then eventually in theology. Then I was ordained a priest. And after some few years ministering in South Africa, the church in Pretoria asked me to come further my studies in Rome for particularly liturgy.
The Catholic faith is rooted in history, scripture, and traditions which are intrinsically linked to liturgy. And coming to Rome expanded Father Peto's knowledge of the important role of liturgy in the Catholic way of life.
The role that I was doing back at home was to organize, for example, ordinations for priests, for deacons, for bishops, and any other high-level worship that we had to do, I would organize that. So my coming to Rome at this particular time also was quite interesting, looking back from home how liturgies were organized, and coming to see how liturgies are organized here in Rome has somehow enriched my worldview to see that, we have a way of organizing, they have a way of organizing. But in one way or another, you realize that in this organization, we all have one goal. And that goal is how best can we reach God. And I think for me, this has really somehow helped me in terms of me as a person to realize that in the liturgies, God continues to communicate.
Rome is a vibrant capital, and some say a living museum that bears iconic landmarks. And this we got to witness as we navigated from one papal property to another. Some of its historical significance is the influence on, among others, art, language, and law. Outside one of the major papal basilicas, St. Mary Major, I met one of South Africa's legal exports, Mbali Mushajira, who's also from our country's capital, Pretoria.
I started off in medical malpractice, right? So the law firm that I joined, also known as Fulbright, very big practice in terms of medical malpractice. It was one of the big firms in South Africa at the time. So I started off in my medical malpractice, insurance and all of that. It was very interesting. I think I got to a point though where I was just like, it feels a bit heavy on the spirit, you know, like constantly defending claims. I think the medical malpractice scene was growing quite a lot during that period. So I shifted into banking and finance because I felt as though it was a bit less emotive. And yeah, since then I've been doing banking and finance. Obviously, I think from a South African perspective, obviously the opportunities or the avenues to practice different aspects of law are quite a lot. But that's just my career trajectory. So yeah, I think I've been doing banking and finance related work for the past, well, over 10 years now.
The opportunity to work abroad found Mali with an already established love for traveling.
I think I've always been interested in traveling. As a Black South African, I think many of us, especially growing up in the 90s particularly, you know, you'd see things on TV, oh, this looks like it might be an amazing experience, but we didn't necessarily have the budget, right? So when I started working, I was always very interested in going abroad, you know, just to get a taste of living abroad. I managed to study. I did my postgrad in the UK and I thought, oh my gosh, this is really cool, it's really lovely. And then I went back home, but I still had itchy feet, so to speak. And so this opportunity came about. I was back in South Africa and I was on secondment at a client at the time. So when this opportunity came about, I thought, why not? I was really just at a point in my life where I was like, I haven't done it, let me just try something different. And so I tried it out. It was initially supposed to be for a year and I have been here for 4 years now.
It's been 4 years of merging finance and law.
Like I said, I'm a lawyer, and even with the organization I'm with, I'm a lawyer. They had recently, when I joined, so about 4 years ago, just started working in the private sector or financing the private sector. And so it was a very opportune move to continue doing what I've been very interested in, and also, I suppose, assisting with developing the framework around financing the private sector. So my responsibilities now are looking at the legal aspects in terms of the deals that we do. From an internal perspective, also just giving guidelines or guidance rather, giving guidance in terms of what we can and cannot do, identifying potential risks from a legal perspective and otherwise. So, yeah.
In the city centre of Rome and close to landmarks like the Colosseum is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. It is where I meet Dr. Manuel Barrage, a South African and Spanish national who has a PhD in marine ecology and works for the FAO, a specialized agency of the United Nations leading international efforts to defeat hunger.
I always wanted to be a marine biologist, but I didn't even know what marine biology was. So I had a passion for the sea, for the ocean, for things out there. But you know, you learn as you go along, and opportunities open to you. You know, the first opportunity was becoming an observer in the High Seas Fleet, spending many months actually away from land, not seeing anybody except those on board the ship. That become your family, and spending a lot of hours looking through looking at sea and looking at what happens there and getting ideas as to what you would like to do. So it's a process, much more than just being very sure what to do. I wanted to do something in the ocean, and then opportunities open. South Africa, first of all, has fantastic universities, fantastic research centers. And when I was there studying and working and doing my PhD, I couldn't have found better supervisors. Had fantastic teachers. So I think that the environment was very ready for it. And I loved it. And we also had a lot of resources, because South Africa is first very rich in fisheries resources. and very rich in the infrastructure that supports science and management of marine resources. So it was really a fantastic environment. At some point, it became not enough for me, and the reason for it mostly was because I wanted to do more science and move a little bit away from the circle that we had, in Southern Africa. I did a lot of work in South Africa, in Namibia, a bit in Angola, working with the SADC countries. But I wanted to explore a little bit what was happening beyond that.
He says there's always been an appetite for marine science.
But marine science has always attracted a lot of people, always. And I've seen this actually not just in South Africa, and not just in the rest of Africa. I see it all over the world. People have a passion for the ocean. They look at it and think, I want to be part of that. So we've always had that. And of course, there are more opportunities now than there were then because of the political circumstances at the time. But I just still think that it is a career that attracts the youth. And what it is very important is actually to guide those youth to see that it is not just that, it's not enough to like the ocean or to like the marine environment. It is not enough. You have to find a way that you can contribute to making things more sustainable, more effective, better for human societies, better for everyone. So I think that transition to a passion for just aquatic environments to something that is relevant, that is more difficult. And we need to help people find that path, because otherwise a lot of people end up halfway. They just do the training and they can't find jobs, they don't know exactly how to move further.
Being dynamic in this field is what also helped the trajectory of his career.
This combination between my scientific background, the scientific learnings that I did overseas, and then becoming a manager of a research institution gave me a sort of a window of skills that I could use in many different ways. When I came to FAO, to this institution, I knew very well, because it's an institution that I knew before, that you not only have to be academically very strong, but you have to be politically astute, understand the differences between countries, understand the challenges that different countries have, and at the same time to know how to manage institutions. I mean, as Assistant Director General, I'm part of the leadership of this institution, which has 15,000 employees in 146 countries with an enormous budget. So you have to learn to manage and combine those skills. And I think that's what has been successful for me, is this balance of skills, not just a one-trick pony.
Exploring the grand infrastructure of Italy, we hopped on a train en route to the regional capital of Veneto. Venice is famed for its canals, romantic atmosphere, and Gothic architecture. This is where we meet South African-born CEO of Palmerton, a company which prides itself on being one of Europe's top provider of metal powders, grits, and granules.
My first degree was metallurgy, so most of my career has been spent in the metallurgical type business. And Palmerton, which is basically a foundry operation producing metallic powders, it is the only producer in Europe that produces both ferrous and non-ferrous powders, and they were looking for somebody to help transition the business.
Transformation of these big companies seems to be a big selling point.
What companies are looking for is for people who can take the business into different and diversified directions, particularly in diversification that is not normal in the current business. Exactly what we're trying to do here in Palmerton. We're going in a completely different field. We're going from powders, which have historically been used in the automotive market, and we're now trying to position powders particularly for the production of green energy.
Clayton's reputation for strategic turnaround of companies in difficult situations is among reasons why he says he landed the leading role in this major company.
We produce metallic powders, and this business is a quintessential Italian company. I mean, Italy as an economy is characterized by many different family businesses, and it gives the strength to the Italian economy. And Palmerton is one such company. It has been around for more than 85 years. It started off producing basically granules and abrasives for shot blasting, and it transitioned into powders. and those powders get used to produce parts for the ICE, internal combustion engines. Not many people know this, but most ICE, diesel and petrol cars, the parts of ICE engines are made with powder, not with machining or with forging. And we have been predominantly targeted to that business. 75% of our business was in the automotive sector. Now, with the transition of the automotive sector, and particularly from ICE, internal combustion engines, to electric vehicles, it means there's been a decline of engines, which means a decline of parts, which means a decline of powders. So we looked at the business probably 8 years ago now, and we realized that we had to reposition our product so that we were not so dependent upon automotive sector.
From the pews of one of the most formidable spiritual seats to producing metal powders, South Africa's diverse and most skilled exports are flying the flag high on global stages. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Mnisi in Italy.